I will say I have a lot of conversations with folks about this, and being kind of seen as a tech person, there's a
Yeah.
lot of misconceptions because you'll hear people talk about, okay, digital or virtual learning, and they go, oh, you mean this, and you go, oh, no, I don't mean that. That's not actually what I'm talking about at all,
Yeah.
because we're talking about this transformational experience, which again, I'm very much aligned to you that when you get this right, it's you don't look back and go, I don't know, like let's just do this for a little while and then we'll go back to the way it was. Because
Yeah.
when you get it right, you go, where was this all my life,
And
type of a
yeah,
thing.
exactly.
But I think we need to define that, because anybody may hear hybrid learning or digital experience and go, oh yeah, I've tried that, it doesn't really work, or it didn't
Yeah.
really work for my audience. So when you're talking about this kind of experience that is, what are some of the, how do you describe it to people? Because that is, it can be challenging to get people to align the way they're thinking or their preconceived notions to what you really mean by this kind of
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is so important because you're right. It's almost sad because they think they've tried it and it didn't work, and now they're on to the next thing. And what? So let's talk about what is not. What are those things they tried
Yeah.
that didn't work? Right? It is not taking like those live workshops I used to do at KPMG, which is a slide deck and a bunch of speaker notes, basically, right? And turning that into some virtual thing, like an
Yes.
e-learning with a narrator and text on screen. Like it's not that. It's not even high production video version of that in B-roll and whatever. You can go as fancy as you want. It's not even that. What it is, and all of those things to me are like the top down approach to training, which is, hey, we need a training. Like let's create some things, drop it down on the team, the people,
Yeah.
whatever,
We've
and
got some really important things to tell them.
and
So
it's
let's put
yeah,
all that information in a structure, and then we're going to package it up nicely, and then we're going to pack it in people's head. To me, that's the whole
exactly.
knowledge transfer approach. We have
Not
knowledge, we need to transfer it to other people. That's our goal.
exactly.
And we're not talking about that.
Exactly. And so what we are talking about, so that's, I love the way you said that. It is the transfer of information. What I'm talking about is the transformation of the learner.
Okay.
Totally different thing. And how do we actually learn? And anybody who's listening will agree with this. We learn from each other on the job, and back when we were all in offices as well. I mean, it was easier back then. It was more organic, I think is probably the better word. Is we'd learn from each other. You'd ask the person next to you, like, how do I do this? Like there'd be like the go-to people who are sort of the internal experts, and that is how you do it. And you'd learn on the job. You'd learn by like doing something, and then hopefully you have time to sort of reflect on it and maybe talk to someone about it and sort of see how you could do it better next time. And to me, that's the most important part. So what I then looked at, we sort of, with my clients at PagerDuty, is we blew out what they had already invested in. And so I think this is where the tech part comes in, because the approach that we adopt doesn't sort of shy away from the tech investments already made.
No,
It
no, it
actually
doesn't. And I think
leverages
that's an
it. Actually,
important. And before we get to that piece, because the piece I want to highlight, just reinforce that you said there, that going back to what it's not, you're talking about this community element of
yeah,
how do we actually do this with people. And again, where I've seen this be, well, that's not quite it, is, well, we have this high production video and this stuff, and we threw a discussion board in it, right? So
yeah,
so that now people can like share their insights on this high production quality. That's definitely a step forward from, we're just making you jam through a bunch of
yep,
videos and binge watch videos. It's a step forward, but that's still not, because I've had people go, no, we've tried that. We've tried people kind of going through the stuff at the same time and share insights, and it really didn't click. That's again not what we mean, where it's just
yeah.
like, oh, kind of go like share a few sentences on what you learned.
Yeah, there's no intention behind that. It's not
Yeah.
intentional. And
I
so
love that you use that word.
yeah, it's so key.